Bachelor Litia Garr calls Grant Ellis people pleaser. April 11, 2025. Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Bachelor Nation News fans. Bachelor runner-up Litia Garr has not spoken about her split from Grant Ellis since after the final rose. Now she's sharing her side of things and how she felt. She opened up about how things ended and the things Grant was saying to her up until the final rose ceremony. In fact, she even basically called him a people pleaser. What did she say about everything that went down on The Bachelor? Keep reading to get all the details. Bachelor runner-up Litia Garr breaks silence on breakup. Bachelor runner-up Litia Garr has not said anything about her breakup with Grant Ellis since she confronted him on after the final rose. Now, she is opening up and sharing her thoughts about how everything went down. Litia appeared on the Relationship Asterisk with Kami Crawford podcast, where she dished on everything Grant had said to her before the final rose ceremony. Litia noted during her interview that she knew she signed up for a television show and that everyone was invested in their relationship. She said that everything she said during her time on after the final rose, she also said during their breakup. She said it all basically twice, so everyone would know and understand why she felt blindsided by their split. Litia even said it's not that Grant was saying "I love you" to two people. She realizes that on The Bachelor, this does happen and falling for two people is possible. However, it's the other promises he made to her. The night before the rose ceremony, Grant continued to express his love for Litia. He even noted that he couldn't wait for the cameras to be gone so they could just chat and not have to always be pressured to talk about heavy things constantly. She went on to say that they did have light moments on that final night, but they did address some of the big things as well that needed to be discussed. When it was time for him to leave for the night, Litia said, "When leaving my suite, I was like, OK, I'll see you tomorrow. I can't believe it, like we're getting engaged." Because of all the things he had just said to me during the whole conversation. He was like, "I know, I can't wait. I love you, I love you, I love you," when he was being like rushed out the door. Other things he did that made her question things. When Litia Garr arrived at the final rose ceremony, she was pretty confident that Bachelor Grant Ellis was going to pick her. However, she did note that he could have also been people-pleasing. She really thought an engagement was coming when he kissed her upon her arrival. Plus, Litia felt like if he lets her speak and declare her love for him, then he's for sure picking her. He even told her producers told him he should let her speak first. So she thought, great, she will just say everything she wanted to say to him. After their very rare 45-minute breakup, as Litia was driving away, she said, "There's like a million things the whole time why I thought it was gonna go a different way. But that was the part to me. On the drive away from the breakup, I was like, he asked me to give the speech." Litia also didn't understand why Grant would give multiple women journals and say he wanted them to read them together post-show. She says she hasn't spoken to Grant at all since after the final rose, and she doesn't expect to. However, she has watched all his interviews and has seen the things being said about her and their relationship. Litia understands that he is trying to do right by his relationship with Juliana Pasquarosa by playing down their time together. However, she knows as well as the camera and audio crews know that she's not crazy. They saw and heard the same things she did. What do you think about Litia's first post-show interview? Stay tuned for more updates on all your Bachelor Nation favorites. It's been months since the dramatic finale of The Bachelor Season 29 aired, and still, the dust refuses to settle. Litia Garr, the charismatic runner-up whose heartbreak captivated America, is finally telling her side of the story, and she's not mincing words. In a jaw-dropping new podcast interview, Litia broke her silence with a sharp accusation that has sent shockwaves through Bachelor Nation. "Grant Ellis isn't a bad guy," she said, voice steady. "But he's a people pleaser, and that's the problem." From shocking behind-the-scenes moments to her feelings about that final rose ceremony, Litia is laying it all bare. If you thought she'd quietly move on while Grant and Juliana flaunted their post-show romance, think again. Because the truth, according to Litia, Grant didn't just break my heart. He never stood up for himself. He let everyone else make his decisions. Buckle up. This is the story Bachelor Nation didn't see coming. Chapter 1. The Heartbreak Heard Around the World. Litia Garr wasn't just another contestant. From the moment she stepped out of the limo in a sunflower yellow dress, viewers were hooked. She was funny, warm, and authentic, and her chemistry with Grant Ellis was instant. He looked at me like I was the only person in the room, she recalled. I really believed I was going to be the one. And for a while, so did we. But as the season progressed, cracks started to show. Despite their one-on-one dates being some of the most romantic in franchise history, from that Stevie waterfall kiss in Costa Rica to their hometown picnic under the California sun, something shifted. Looking back, I can see it, Litia admitted. There were moments where I could tell he was doubting. But instead of being honest, he tried to make everyone happy. That, she says, was Grant's fatal flaw. Chapter 2. Puppet or Prince? It wasn't just Litia noticing Grant's indecisiveness. Former contestants, producers, and fans have echoed similar concerns, with many questioning whether Grant ever truly had control over his own narrative. His final choice, Juliana Pasquarosa, the fashion influencer who stirred controversy all season, raised eyebrows from the start. Juliana is charming, Litia said carefully, but I'm not sure he picked her for the right reasons. I think he picked her because she was the safer choice for the show, not because she was right for him. She didn't stop there. Producers loved her, his sister adored her, and Grant? He just wanted everyone to be happy. Litia's voice trembled only once during the hour-long interview when she spoke about the final night. He held my hand and told me he saw a future. He looked me in the eye and said he'd always protect my heart. Then 20 minutes later, he sent me home. Chapter 3. I should have seen it coming. After the finale aired, Litia kept a low profile. No cryptic Instagram posts, no tell-all interviews, just silence. Until now. I needed time to process, but also I didn't want to seem bitter. That's what people say about women like me, that we're jealous or angry when things don't go our way. I wasn't angry, I was hurt. But that silence was short-lived after fans kept messaging her about what they saw on screen, or more accurately, what they didn't see. There were scenes cut from the final edit, Litia claimed, moments where I questioned Grant, moments where I told him I didn't feel he was being honest. None of that made it to air. And when asked why, she took a deep breath and answered simply, because it didn't fit the narrative. Grant had to be the golden boy, and golden boys don't crack. Chapter 4. Juliana speaks, kind of. While Grant has maintained a tight-lipped stance post-season, Juliana has been more active, posting cryptic captions like, "Let people underestimate you. That's your power," and "We move forward with grace, not bitterness." To which Litia says, "If those were about me, cool. I've got nothing to prove. I've already said my piece to Grant privately. But if she thinks Grace is marrying a man who couldn't stand up for himself, then I wish her luck." Mick dropped. Chapter 5. Fans react and take sides. The Bachelor fandom is notorious for choosing sides, and Litia's comments have only stoked the flames. Within hours of her interview dropping, #TeamLitia trended on X, formerly Twitter, with thousands praising her honesty and courage. She deserved better, one fan wrote. "Grant's a grown man, not a puppet," another posted. "Why are we still letting men get away with emotional cowardice?" a third added. Of course, not everyone is buying it. Litia's "just salty," one Juliana fan fired back. She lost. End of story. But if you ask Litia, I didn't lose, I just dodged a bullet. Chapter 6. Behind the Bachelor smile. Several sources close to production backed up Litia's claims about Grant being a people pleaser. One former crew member, who asked to remain anonymous, described Grant as sweet but spineless. He wanted everyone to like him. The crew, the women, the audience. He couldn't handle conflict, which is why the final was so tough. He didn't want to hurt Litia, but he also didn't want to disappoint Juliana or the producers. This behind-the-scenes look paints a very different picture than the confident, composed man Bachelor fans saw on screen. And it raises the question, did Grant ever really know what, or who, he wanted? Chapter 7. A new chapter for Litia. While Grant and Juliana have been spotted house hunting and making the influencer rounds, Litia has quietly started rebuilding. I moved back to Austin. I'm working on a podcast, and I'm dating, casually, but more importantly, I'm healing. She laughs when asked if she'd ever consider becoming the Bachelorette. That offer hasn't come, she says coyly. But if it did, I'd only say yes if they promised me full control. No producers making decisions for me. No men who can't say what they really mean. And what about Grant? I hope he finds his voice, she said. I really do. Because if he doesn't, he'll always end up in relationships that look good on paper, but leave him feeling empty. Chapter 8. The Instagram unfollow heard round the world. In true modern breakup fashion, the drama continued online. Eagle-eyed fans noticed that Litia unfollowed both Grant and Juliana shortly after her interview aired, and neither has refollowed her. Juliana has since posted a bikini pic captioned, "Peace over pettiness," and Grant, a vague quote reposted on his story, "When they show you who they are, believe them." Is that about me? Litia said with a grin, maybe, but he's the one who wore the mask. Chapter 9. A franchise problem. Some are calling this bigger than just one Bachelor breakup, pointing to a larger issue within the franchise. Too often, these men are cast to fit a mold, a former contestant shared anonymously. And if they push back, they're replaced or edited out. Grant played the part too well. He became the show's puppet. Litia agrees. If you want to be loved by everyone, you lose yourself. That's what happened to Grant. Chapter 10. Closure? Maybe. When asked if she has any final message for Grant, Litia paused. "Thank you," she finally said, "because you taught me what I don't want. I don't want a man who says yes to everyone. I want someone who says yes to me, fully, fearlessly, and without apology." And with that, she stood up, smiled, and walked out of the studio. No tears, no regrets. Just a woman who knows her worth. Epilogue. The Bachelor's future. The franchise is already filming its next season, but fans haven't stopped talking about the woman who didn't get the final rose, and maybe didn't want it anyway. Litia for Bachelorette 2026. One fan tweeted, "We need a season where the lead isn't afraid to call out the BS," another added. Whether or not she gets that rose-shaped second chance, one thing's clear. Litia Garr isn't afraid to speak her truth, even if it ruffles feathers. And if that makes her the villain in someone else's story, then maybe they weren't the hero after all.